Ben's gonna join too. Summer? Yeah. Join maybe, or join too as well? Yeah.
Hang on.
Last time I had to give you mine.
Stayed the same. and the third go down.
We're unmuted
Okay,
and
guys.
recording.
I thought,
I'm gonna call the meeting to order.
I was wondering if you came to vote.
On purpose.
First item on the agenda, thanks everybody for coming, Cranberry Isle, and all of you folks that are zoomed in. First item on the agenda is to approve the minutes of October 10th. Any discussion, motion?
So move.
Second,
Okay.
no discussion, all in favor, say aye, raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
You skipped the next one.
Yeah, okay. We have Cranberry Island here. Board of Selectmen and, idea was to discuss activities on the summer activities in the marina and parking lot. And, as you guys know, Cranberry Island is growing, business wise, housing and everything. And town of Mount Desert is impacted greatly with our dockage and parking, and that's what we're here to discuss. So I'll open it to the floor if you want to make any comments. Jim,
We're just
identify yourself.
Jim Bright on the Harbor Committee. This has been brought up by some members on the committee, and the concern is all the workers in the summer mornings that go to Cranberry. I have mixed feelings about it, but it does take up the whole waterfront and all the side parking. And it is noticeable. And for me, I just wonder if some of those could go out of Southwest to relieve some of the pressure. Other than that, I don't have any suggestions. Some of them are Mount Desert using them too, so I don't know how you can deal with it all. Or how we can deal with it, so. There's also a lot more fishermen. Boats all have 3 crew, and I think that's also a big problem.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of everything, but we do think that the business activity that has to go from here to Cranberry on a daily basis has really impacted our particularly the parking down here. And not so much the boat traffic, but the parking and the accumulation of equipment and materials on the main pier. So we'd like to have some kind of mutual agreement about usage. Jim, just suggested using the Southwest Manson dock for more access. So I'm opening it to, you folks for suggestions, and our own board.
Corey, do you mind if I comment?
Go ahead.
To introduce myself, I'm Joe Connell. I'm one of the selectmen on the Cranberry Board. Relatively new compared to Corey, but I just want to state first that Cranberry really appreciates and values the connection with Northeast Harbor. There's absolutely no question there. And when this came up in our selectmen's meeting this morning, it was very clear that we just want to, without a doubt, work with you guys to resolve any issues so that we can continue the relationship we've had for forever, I think. So there's no question there. As far as the comment about the town is growing, we wish we were. There may be more people coming out here, but we're actually faced with the issue of dwindling. So we've got double concerns here for ourselves. As far as the workers go, yeah, we're willing to work with you on that. And I understand, I go back and forth on the boats and know that it's sometimes a cluster there. So if you guys can help us understand the issues a little more and what's going on from your perspective, we're more than happy to work with you to help resolve whatever you're feeling.
Say something. Yeah.
We've also wondered if people are bringing trash and then depositing it either at the marina dumpster and sometimes construction trash.
Jim, do you have any knowledge around that? I'm not.
I do not. I mean, that's first I've heard of that. I've seen things left on the dock, like pallets and boxes, things like that. I don't know the origin of it. I don't know that it comes directly from out here. We have seems like a hassle to take that stuff off. We have our own transfer station, so it'd be a hassle to take it off, I would think. So we do provide a trash bin in Manset for residents that go in and out of there during the summer. But I'm not aware of trash going off on the boat, on the ferries.
Yeah, that's the first time I've heard of that myself.
There may be some people, with their own boats that can leave trash in places. That could be. I'm totally unaware of it.
I know. I'll confess. I'm guilty of throwing a couple of things in the container once in a while, but it's usually just my vehicle. An empty soda can or something like that. So I'll fess up to being bad there. But I'm guessing that's not the problem. There's a dumpster way off over by the Hinckley building. That's the one you're talking about, isn't it?
Oh,
Well,
the one,
we're not talking about your coffee cup. It's
I know.
either builder garbage maybe coming off with workers who don't have as easy access. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But
Can I, if I could just say, that may be a function. Our transfer stations out here, we take demo debris. It is open 2 days a week. So, and everybody, that works out here or lives out here should be aware of that. They're aware of the hours. But that's the only hindrance I can see that would be for someone who was trying to dispose of demolition, any kind of debris from their work or whatever, is they somehow missed the transfer station hours. That would be seems to me that's the only reason you would miss it. Where is the trash? I know there's a trash receptacle by the bathrooms, but I remember years ago when they redid the harbor there, it's quite a long time ago. There was a trash bin, like a roll-off bin somewhere there, and that got removed at that time. Oh, okay, yeah, I guess I wasn't aware it was, I never go to the other lot, so I don't even know what's over there. Talk about the marina, right, with the marina.
What's your opinion of the use of the Mansit, dock and parking area? Do you think that's, used to capacity or?
Absolutely not. And we were talking about that in our meeting today. We think that's a very important part of our future. Right now, it's going to take some time to expand what we're able to do there. But you know, as I'm sure you know, we own the parking lot up there, and the dock is ours to work with. But that's going to take some time before we can do a lot more with that. But we certainly hope to.
They right now, if you go down here 8 o'clock in the morning, it's basically full. The parking area for automobiles and trucks and workmen.
I think a lot of that's fishing though, because if I go down there at 4 in the morning, it's sometimes or 4:30, it's full a lot of
But
times.
you combine the fishermen and the workmen that are going for the day, and it's really nothing left for our own businesses and our own community. I personally, I know the Mansit dock is underutilized. And to me, the town of Mount Desert doesn't have any option. We don't have any way to increase the parking area. So it's either gonna get into, which we all hate, we've just read about Bar Harbor's paid parking. None of us want that to happen here. But it may come to it if we don't have a mutual agreement about easing up on the parking situation.
Well, as of right now, the floats are hauled in Mansit, so that's kind of off limits. No
Yeah.
access, but,
Well, it's not.
we can also
Excuse me.
contact our contractors that are coming out, get a letter out to our contractors. There's a chance maybe they can carpool a little bit better. I mean, as I'm sure some of them are bringing their own cars and just meeting there and then hopping on the boat, so. There's options, but definitely we understand.
Go ahead, Jim.
I also think that on the trash, the Cranberry is getting blamed for a lot of people from this town going down there and dumping at the dumpster when it's meant to be for marina. Now, I guess there was problems with, didn't we have a trash barrel at the head of the pier that would get filled up, but is that yachters putting it in there too?
It's everything.
Yeah, so I think somewhat on the trash, the Cranberry's taken a bad rap, but definitely in the summer months, the amount of workers, when you look at that 7:30 boat going off is a problem. That's, if we can work with contractors to. But there's also, you know, there's the boatyard and other people from out there, workers all park and then they go up, you know, merch people there that, I mean, there's 4, 5, 6 people in that boat every morning going out. Along with other people, that's the kind of, but it's, again.
That's just what I'm talking about. If we get those people to commute together, that ease up some. I mean,
Well, but they could also park on the Cranberry lot in Mansit and go in there and pick them up.
if there was floats, yes.
Yeah, oh, I think in the off
Summer,
season,
yes.
yeah, there's no problem in the off season, Corey, no way.
Yeah, those floats in Manset they're in by May 15th, they're in and ready. And they come out sometime after October 15th, so right around mid-October. So they're perfect.
Yeah, I think we're basically talking about the summer months. I'm not talking in the off season.
Okay, I just caught that piece. I'm sorry. And I'm with Corey there. I think we can do a lot between now and the next summer season to encourage our contractors to either move over to Southwest or commute together. Just letting them know that there is an issue and that we have a really important relationship here with the town that we need to that we need to safeguard and work with you guys on, I think would go a long way, because no one wants to jeopardize our situation here. Nobody.
Yeah.
So just education and awareness could go a long way towards resolving some of this next summer.
Go ahead, Howard.
Hi, this is Howie Motenko. I'm on the Harbor Committee. And we've been doing a survey of the parking lots, especially at night. And it seems, and I can't say for sure where the traffic's coming from, but if you guys can just get the word out to your folks, like try not to park illegally in the parking lots here, which means, you need to get a permit from the harbor master to park legally, and whatever requirements are there for that, to just follow those. So that would help us out, because we've noticed, an abundance of cars there, and what happens is if they park illegally overnight, sure, there's plenty of parking overnight, but then during the day, that's when we need the space open. So if they're just there overnight, they're taking up a space during the day, which someone could be getting, and that's our concern at that point.
Our residents should be parking, we lease a parking lot there, they should be parking in that, and they get permits for that, and they can share the permit, so it's the ability to do that. And then we have about 50 spaces, 55 at Joy Road.
Yeah, Jim, I'll jump in there because I know what happens sometimes. Someone's running late for the mail boat. It's the last boat of the night. They're screaming in. They leave their car there and jump on the boat and hope that they're forgiven or willing to pay the ticket. And it happens. I know it does. It's not good. And we can try to educate people about that again. I think it's rare, but it does happen. So, and with Northeast there, I understand that people do leave their cars there sometimes, even though they have a parking space. And we can.
I think
or sometimes maybe, we don't know for sure, but sometimes it might even be guests that come for, a few days to come and visit, and there's no place else for them to park, right? Like, because they're already parking in their regular space, but they don't have a space for their guests.
But that's when they need to contact our office, because we have spaces for guests.
Yeah.
And in us educating our residents will only go so far. You guys are gonna have to write some tickets if it keeps up. That's the only way to make it sting. A ticket or two makes it sting, and they stop.
Tow a couple cars and
We're pretty good about issuing temporary parking tickets for Joy
Yep.
Road. We'll
boot 'em.
give anybody a ticket, they call us and ask them, mail it to them, they give us, what is it, $25 now?
Well, again, I can't pinpoint it to any particular group of people, but if you can educate your folks on that end, or just remind them again, that'd be great for us. That just helps us along.
I see it myself. I see the docks being abused. I see the parking lot being abused. I saw the dock being trashed. And so far, you guys have turned it around immediately. So the dock looks great compared to what it was.
And we're happy to work with you. So we hear that educating our public, our community and our workers is the most important thing we could do as a first step. So happy to do that.
I think that's a great way to start, and this is early enough for everyone to have a heads up. And we're looking forward to next year having a mutually agreeable situation down here. So,
All right.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Stop throwing my coffee cups in the dumpster.
Yeah, well, that's okay. None of them on the ground. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your time.
All right,
Thank you for including us.
yeah, good. Okay,
Oh, someone put their hand up.
and
Caitlin Damon.
Caitlin, go ahead.
Yeah, hi, Caitlin Damon from Islesford. And just in our defense on the trash, we use Seal Harbor quite a bit in the summertime. We have a mooring over there. And I've seen Seal Harbor folks drive down with 3 or 4 massive bags of trash and go right into that dumpster. don't go to Northeast Harbor as much in the summertime just because we have a mooring. But just in our defense, I think it's misused and abused by everybody.
Agreed.
I live in Seal Harbor and I see all of my neighbors using that.
Okay, we're gonna move on because we don't have any heat in here and everybody's got the
All right,
coat zipped up. Thank you very much.
folks, thanks again.
All right. I'll go back to,
Yeah, I'll give you a quick overrun on the
mooring.
mooring rental season.
Yeah.
I can get my fingers to pull my paper apart. So 2023, we had about 10 less moorings to rent than what we did for 2022. And at the end of the season, we ended up only $765 less than the previous year with 10 less moorings. We had over 30 nights that we were at capacity and sending people away.
For moorings?
For moorings, yeah. We brought in a couple $100 shy of $90,000 rental. And granted, 40,000 of that gets paid back out to the owners of the moorings, but and that includes all of the town-owned floats too. So we had a banner year as far as the moorings go. So I won't have any numbers on the marina until I do the calendar year crunch for submerged lands lease that we'll pay. But I anticipate that we'll be paying submerged lands $2,000 to $3,000 more than last year, so. Which is up over 30 grand now that we pay. But I'll have good numbers for that then. But I looked the other day on our year-to-date numbers. We're at 90. We're at 90-something% of our numbers that we need to meet on June 30th of next year already.
Wow.
So we're doing really well.
Great.
One other item on our agenda was review of our ordinance, and we were gonna prep up some things to send to our attorney if we wanted to make changes in the harbor ordinance. I don't know if we want to sit here and discuss that tonight.
So in the minutes from last meeting, Chris listed out most everything that we had already put up as some ideas.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you guys have thought of since we've had that meeting that you want to add? And I think we need to tidy up the ones that we did talk about a little better before I ship them off to our lawyer, because this time's not cheap.
Yeah, go ahead, Howie.
I had one question, and this is, it might be what Al's talking about too, I don't know. Or Alan, sorry. It regards, I was at a planning board meeting the other day.
Yep.
And the planning board, just ever so brief, they were trying to make a decision on Northeast Harbor Fleet, what designation it is.
You're
For
being
zoning.
generous saying it was brief, because I watched that meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, all right, so they were trying to decide what the zoning ordinance was for it. And they were using the identification of marina, or the definition of marina. And they have a definition of marina in their ordinance, under, whatever ordinance number it is, blah, 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 definition marina. And it turns out we have a definition for marina, and they're different definitions. And so my question was, is that a concern for the town overall? And I sent a note to John, Rick, and the planning board chairman there and asked, and I never heard back. So it might not be a concern.
I thought about it and tried to look it up, and I personally and I don't object to the way it is. Right?
Yeah, no, I understand.
And I think the way it's described for us, it works with the harbor ordinance.
Yeah.
And for John.
No, I'm totally with you.
So I don't think we should monkey with it.
My question is more, would it make sense to write something that says the definitions listed here supersede anything written anywhere else for our ordinances? That was my question.
Right.
That is perfectly fine.
I mean, I don't think our definition of marina or what is in our ordinance in any way, shape or form has anything to do with whether the planning board turns them into an outdoor recreational facility or calls them a marina. It has nothing to do with us,
Yeah,
in my opinion.
yeah, I understand that part.
But
I-
sorry,
I just meant as a formal document of the
Sure.
town.
but did their wanting me designated as a marina allow them to put 35 moorings over there?
No,
I don't think they wanted to be.
No, they didn't want to.
their
Yeah, outdoor.
definition of what the planning board calls them has nothing to do with anything waterside. It's landside only.
Yeah.
It's all about what they can do on.
A
that.
the marina designation is strictly landside?
For what the
For
planning
their
board is looking at, the
purposes.
planning board has no jurisdiction on anything out in the water.
Well, they do on the wharf.
The wharf, yes,
Yes.
but not anything away from the wharf.
But why,
Because
Why
if
do
the
they wanna
planning board
change?
calls them a marina, they are locked in and they cannot expand at all.
Yeah.
If they get what they ended up getting called, which was an outdoor recreational facility, it doesn't lock them in and they have the ability to do some expansion landside. That's
but
exactly,
not waterside?
not waterside. Anything waterside would have to, mooring wise, would have to come from me.
I'm sorry to mix the two, things together. in that
Fine.
regard, but
Okay.
I have sorry.
No, we talked about it. All right, that's good enough.
So apologies for the personal nature here, but and I know we've talked about this with moorings. If you have a house on the water and you have a mooring and you die and your kid gets your boat and your kid gets your house, they can't keep the mooring or they can't keep the boat.
So here's, in that situation, this is what happens for me. Your house, your mooring, your boat. You pass away. You have a child that assumes your house and your boat. All right. That is, let's not do it inside the harbor. This is an out of the harbor situation. All right, there's no waiting list.
Right.
For anybody to say, oh, I'm next on the list, that's my mooring. That mooring would be sitting there in limbo. Your estate owns the gear. The gear can be given to the new child. And they can come to me and say, my mom passed away. There's a mooring out in front of the house. Do I have the right to a riparian mooring as the landowner here? And I say, yes. And I say, well, your mom had a mooring out there. So let's just move this over and you assume this. Instead of having to pull it out, put it back in the same spot where it was, it would be assumed. Now, if it was an in the harbor mooring, that's a different story.
And that's what I'm asking.
So the person who would assume the property could get on the list as a riparian owner at this point and become number one on the list and wait for the next mooring that was given up. Magical. There's a mooring right there that was given up by the owner, previous owner, and it needs to go to a new person. The person who's taken over the home is now number one on the list because they're a riparian owner in the harbor. They would essentially get that mooring.
Is that in the ordinance of the list of?
Riparian owner is number one.
I don't remember
Riparian
seeing it.
landowner in a harbor is number one on the list.
You just have to make sure you get on that list.
Yes.
More paperwork.
But your mother's gotta die first, before you can get on that list.
What?
Your mother's gotta die first.
Well,
I am the mother.
it's a story, it was on this list from last month, your issue.
All right, I don't remember it being that
Right here.
specific, but
it's clear now, for sure.
Yeah, I
Thanks,
mean,
John.
there's a mechanism there.
Clear as none.
No, I got it.
you know.
No, it's so, it
And
totally
it
makes
passes the
sense.
straight face for me,
Yeah.
and it's all paperwork.
Yeah.
You know,
Now-
I don't have any issue with that
I-
scenario.
Totally makes sense.
I have a quick question on that. Let's say, you know, your, I'll use the parent situation is. They're probably not gonna be around a whole lot longer. Could someone come in, get on the wait list, just put their name there, and then when that does happen, would they go to the top of the list?
That's the commercial
They would
thing.
have to.
Or does
have
that person
assumed-
have
They
to
would
pass
have
away?
to have assumed ownership of the
It's
property.
not,
Okay, okay.
it's
Like
strictly
a lot of the
commercial.
moorings, like the
remember
Rockefeller.
that.
moorings. Like 15, 20 years ago, Doug saw what was going on and. They went and got people onto the waiting list to assume ownership of David Junior's moorings, or David Senior's moorings, I'm sorry. And they were lucky enough that they were early enough in the process that they worked their way through. When someone would become number one on the waiting list, David Senior would go, I'm giving up a mooring. And lo and behold, there's somebody there that wanted that mooring.
Yeah.
So they went through the paperwork process and they earned it. If somebody got on the wait list and they're not the owner of that property, they don't have any riparian rights
Right,
to become number one.
Okay.
They would
But
have to
so-
wait until they were the owner of that property. Worst case scenario, they lose out on the mooring that their parents gave up, but they get the very next one that becomes available.
Sure, okay.
And there's no guarantee that it's in front of your house. It's wherever the next one of that size happens to be.
John, I think maybe the question is more like, I get on the list for a mooring as a child of an adult who's died. And then does my, just like when I get a new boat, I wanna get an upgrade, right? So my wait list turns into like an upgrade, like it gets upgraded for an upgrade of that, right?
Yes,
And so, or promoted, maybe. So the question is if now I'm in a situation of a riparian child, then would it just be automatically upgraded or promoted? Or are you saying they would have to apply again as a different application?
well, that person, until they assume the property, doesn't have riparian rights.
No, I understand, but after the parent dies and,
Yeah, once
They
they
get
assume the property, they have the right to a riparian mooring.
right,
If they don't already have one, you only get one riparian
Sure.
mooring,
yeah, I understand.
so.
But if they were already on the list, it would just bump them up.
If they said, they could give up that spot and change it,
Yeah,
yes.
okay, cool.
Drop me off that and put me on the riparian spot.
Right.
yes.
Okay, I have one more thing. I'm just gonna beat this dead horse just a little, just a bit. So,
Where's your mooring?
it's actually in Southwest Harbor, but, so our family's house in Southwest Harbor, it's actually all through an LLC now, including the mooring is the name is in, so that shouldn't be an issue. How would that work in the town of Mount Desert? If someone had a mooring under an LLC?
As long as the,
and the
as
LLC
long as
just
the
becomes-
LLC is still active and alive and has somebody attached to it that.
Is alive.
Cause there are LLCs in the.
Yeah.
In the marina field, in the mooring field.
Yeah.
And, there's just, as long as the LLC exists, I guess.
Okay,
There you go, Rick.
so there's the easy answer. Okay,
Too
Trying
late.
to think of all the angles.
yeah.
And so the boat would need to be in the LLC as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, you have
The
to have it
LLC
already in
needs to own the boat.
Can't put it in it anymore.
That's true.
So I guess that's what you can do, Story, is LLC yourself and the boat.
It's too late
It's too
anymore.
late.
Too late.
You can't
I
reclassify.
can't
Yeah, you have to-
reclassify your name to an LLC without going through the wait list.
Right.
So when you originally got it, if you put it in there, if you put.
Oh, we didn't know all these
Who didn't
things
know this was
45
gonna
years
happen?
ago.
Why not?
There were less people, we didn't have.
45 years ago, you didn't have.
We
all
had
this-
Lou David
all the
taking care of
rules
it.
that We have now.
Actually, we had some shenanigans going on. It's just as hard to get a mooring in those days.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. Don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Moorings disappeared.
yeah.
I see.
People had multiple moorings. No, it was hard to get a mooring. Always has been. Okay, guys.
Eric is quietly freezing over here. He wants our attention.
He wants to go ice skating.
Can I just give a quick update?
Yeah, please.
A lot to update, but, just wanted to check in and let you all know that we are more than halfway to our goal already. Very exciting. And really the day-to-day, operations of what we're doing has been turned over to the town. Happily, they took that over. So they're working with Peter and doing everything that needs to be done. We're checking in with them and making sure they have what they have.
So you're on schedule?
Yeah, oh, for this year.
Yeah.
Down, oh, definitely. And I think it's, I know that Peter's been working with Brian and Derlin to get what they need and they have that plan in there and.
Some braces and stuff showed up in a box. I have
Yes.
that in the office.
Yeah, I don't know if Peter knows that, but
He
asked.
does. I
Okay,
saw him the other day.
Okay, great. Well, I'm sorry that they were mailed.
No,
out.
it's
I don't know
fine.
Why, but, yeah.
It's no problem.
Yeah, good.
Any questions or anything?
Are they digging are you digging the tennis court up?
Well, that's the town, I mean, would be a
Yeah, I
project,
just-
Brian, I think the plan there was that would be, that they're planning that now.
Mhm.
And the hope would be that would be done in the spring. And so what we are doing is working hard to raise the money to marry those two projects together so that we can get the pipes, put into the cement.
So they intend on digging and doing that this winter? I honestly don't know.
I mean, I just, what
Yeah,
Brian
yeah.
tells me, but no, I think they're planning it now and we'll get the bids and do what they need to do, and then that would be done. in
Next year.
Spring,
Oh, in the
in
spring.
the spring, although
Okay.
I know at one point they said spring or
Sure.
fall, I think it depends on the contractors and that
Yeah.
kind of.
No, I just hadn't heard. I didn't know.
Yeah, that's the last I heard.
So you're not 18 inches on one side?
No, then we'll have the flat surface that we need to put those pipes in to skate, yes.
Good.
Good.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for saving my dog.
Oh, no, I couldn't believe it came to me, it was amazing.
You run away?
Did he get loose?
How's that north ramp coming?
Looks good. I was actually gonna bring that up.
Oh,
It's got rebar in down here in the base. Yeah,
Awesome.
I think the
There-
guys are,
I don't know if they're gonna make the asphalt deadline. though.
They're waiting for the tide window to put the big forms in and pour the next level.
Yeah,
yeah, I was impressed.
I think next
Awesome.
week the tide lines up for them.
I thought they disappeared for a while there. I was going.
The only thing I'd like to suggest is that we don't work with granite again. Well, that screwed up the last project by about 6 months.
Yeah, I think.
I think
It ultimately was somebody forgot to order the granite is what happened.
Wow,
And I think ultimately, it's just cosmetic.
totally.
I thought we'd thrown it out, but it got kicked back.
Yeah, I thought we did too.
Have we thrown it out? Oh, good. I won't bring it up again.
No, but
I thought we-
it got put in, but we had decided not to do it. 'cause
No,
of-
originally there wasn't gonna be any concrete. It was gonna be all granite.
Yeah,
And that's when the bids came back at almost $1 million and
Yeah.
we had to go,
Yeah.
whoa. And we went from that to veneer.
no.
Well, actually, I've been impressed with this project.
great.
Right now.
When we get the newer bridge made,
It's already made.
that's quite a step at the end of it. Then you come down.
Transition plates already,
Even for that one on that,
yes,
yeah,
yes.
cause that's, the first time I took it, I went, whoa.
We put a filler in there, so
No, I was talking at the end when you get on the floats,
oh,
it is a pretty big step.
gotcha.
You might see if they can,
Yeah, I don't know what to do about that.
yeah, but that's, if you're unsuspecting, once you know about it.
Yeah.
But it's still gonna be difficult for people with any kind of handicap coming up. If it's
Where is it? Where the ramp meets the float?
where the ramp goes onto the float, it's probably
Oh,
4 inches higher than a normal step. And I'm surprised.
that's a lot.
I've never noticed that, Jim.
It's more than you
I
realize.
might be getting old.
Well, yeah,
Yeah, I don't know what exactly we could do about that, but.
yeah.
And
Unless
that's
they
the
could put
first
some kind
comment
of
I've heard
extension on
about
it
it.
that would move.
Probably
Maybe
the road.
doesn't bother, I just thought it was a lot bigger step than even code would allow, so. If you go to house code, it can only be
Does it
7.
have a difference on the level of the tide?
Nope.
No, okay.
Because it's the end of the ramp down to the, and the float is, I mean, it's heavy on that end anyway.
Right.
It's over whatever code would be in a house. So,
I'm not sure we have a code down here.
yeah, but someone twists their ankle on it, you can find out there's code for it. You know, I was just surprised that they hadn't thought, you know.
I hadn't occurred to me.
Yeah, no, it's the first complaint I've heard about it.
Yeah.
The space at the other end was,
I'm
Thankfully
trying
built
to
it.
picture it in my mind. I know I had to put a pad underneath of it. But I can't remember how far the pad comes out. If the pad doesn't come all the way out, way past it, so you would step it on the pad before you hit the dock, then I could extend the pad and solve, you know, whatever an inch and a half to inch and whatever a 2x8 is thickness. That would be almost 2 inches.
Is it on wheels? What
The
if it had,
The ramp sits on rollers.
what if it was smaller rollers?
I think they're pretty flush. They're not,
Oh.
you know.
That's
not
one
large.
rugged
That's a heavy ramp.
Ooh, yeah, I mean, it's well made.
But it's also, you must have noticed at low tide, it's a lot easier to walk.
Oh, yeah.
That would be a huge thing. The north dock was extremely steep at dead low water.
Oh, I know.
That's gonna make a huge difference
Yeah,
over there for a lot of people.
That'll be nice when the main dock's done too, because it's pretty steep. And then with the ball bearings on there in the winter time, you put the salt down.
Oh, hey, I get it.
Yeah.
We did our first salting the other day and it was nice to not have to salt that ramp.
All right, folks. If there's nothing else, we'll call a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Second. Moved and seconded to adjourn. All in favor, raise your hand. Opposed? Carried. Yeah. See you next month.